what's up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here with Marty Music. Thanks for hanging out. We dug into some interesting topics with my friend Chris Kapika, the Dean of California College of Music. You know, it was really cool and we got a lot of great feedback, so I wanted to bring Chris back and talk about another really interesting topic for music, which is Spotify. We're now in the world of streaming. I mean, we're there. There's a ripple effect in so many different ways, but one that I think would be interesting to talk to Chris about, knowing the distribution is now streaming, how does that change the way artists create their music?
Spotify is a polarizing platform. Spotify has good things about it, especially as a consumer of music. One of the most popular features on Spotify is their sort of customized playlists, Discover Weekly. A lot of up-and-coming artists, this is powerful because if you can get on one of these playlists, it's a huge boon for your career. It's allowing independent artists to get their foot in the door a little bit more easily than perhaps in years past where the major labels were the main gatekeepers. Major labels still pull huge sway. The main playlists, the huge playlists are dominated by major label music. I don't know the specifics, and I don't think anybody really knows the specifics on arrangements that Spotify has with major labels.
It's not transparent, the relationship with the labels and Spotify, and backdoor situations that are promoting that, or do we not know? Or
I'm sure there are things happening behind the scenes that we're not privy to. It's just like terrestrial radio how it used to be. You had major labels that were basically paying radio stations to play songs. There's all kinds of examples of people changing how they make music or what type of music they make based on how Spotify operates. For example, I'd say in general, albums are getting longer, as in more tracks, but songs are getting shorter. So that way, if you come out with a 30-song album, but every track is 90 seconds, it's a very different sort of format than what you might imagine, in the 70s, listen to something like Dark Side of the Moon or something like that, they're not even thinking about that. This is, of course, to just get more spins, more plays, because, you get money per play. And so they want to maximize the number of plays. One example is, I want to say Chris Brown had a 45-song album or something like this. And he basically gave specific instructions to his fans on how they should experience it to maximize, his chances of earning money. Drake did something where I think he put that song Hotline Bling on an album 10 months later, so it would chart on Billboard. There's all kinds of things people are experimenting with, but playlisting is an important aspect of Spotify. So to get on these playlists is a big deal because a lot of people use music for specific purposes, for studying or things like this. So if you can get on one of those playlists, that tends to do pretty well for you. Spotify knows this, and so they've conscripted some Swedish songwriters to basically be these sort of artists that you could never kind of go see tour or play a show or anything, but they basically have some type of deal with Spotify to make music for these playlists. Spotify ends up ostensibly making money off this because they get to put them on the playlist. They presumably own at least a portion of the rights. I don't know what the specifics of the deals are. This was something that people caught wind of, and so then labels started to say, well, we want to get in on this game. And so they started hiring specific artists, like kind of what they call sync bands, for synchronization licensing, or signing publishing deals with specific artists with the sole purpose of getting music either placed in media or on a sort of curated playlist like this, because they just recognize that so many people are listening and, they're trying to maximize the number of plays on a streaming service. These are, again, not bands that you're going to necessarily go out and see play the Roxy. Everybody's trying to make money in this way.
That's fascinating. I haven't really stopped to think too much about it because it's not what I'm not an artist trying to do any of these things, but discovery is so valuable. It's the most valuable thing. So
it really is a huge sacrifice not to be on these platforms. And a lot of people are, especially new artists, are viewing things like Spotify not as a revenue source, but more as a sort of marketing. And so The way a lot of artists are making money nowadays is touring. Nonetheless, though, Spotify for major artists and labels is a reliable source of income. For the new artist, if you can get on a playlist, you have a good shot at making a decent amount of money. But for a lot of people, they're hoping to get on these Discover Weekly playlists, the sort of, custom curated ones. But for some people, that's really made their careers. That's really sort of catapulted them to the next phase. Of course, you're going to have purists who don't want to be involved in that and have, reasonable beef with Spotify and just want to avoid it altogether. But that comes with a cost.
Like, doesn't Garth Brooks just have his own streaming service?
I believe that's correct. You also have people like, Beyonce, Jay-Z that have Tidal, their sort of platform.
But isn't Beyonce on, she is on Spotify though, right?
She is on Spotify, but I believe there are certain parts of her catalog that are exclusively on Tidal. I'll have to double check that. Or they might do things where they might do exclusive releases on certain platforms before it makes it to everything. You have some people experimenting with all kinds of distribution models. It's kind of the Wild West in this sort of digital age of how do I stay a step ahead of the technology? How do I use the technology to my advantage? But technology has always been a huge driver of music. You think about the MP3 as a huge advance in just sort of the availability of music and where you can listen to it and on what apparatus you can listen to music. And
now, studying history up to this point with all these topics, I feel like the ones that don't embrace change are the ones that fail. The ones that sit and complain about the change as opposed to focusing on what doors have now opened from the change and disruption, if you think about it. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's a sink or swim sort of business. You bring up a good point on how do artists, reconcile all of this? And how do they still engage their fans? Social media has been a vital part of the sort of marketing arm of their business, and just being able to engage with fans. A good example of this is Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. This is a song that's how many years old now? Over 40 years old. There was a guy on TikTok who I think last year or so was just like kind of longboarding down the street. He, I think, was drinking a bottle of like
cranberry
ocean
juice.
spray, cranberry juice,
Yeah.
or something like this. And he had Dreams by Fleetwood Mac as the song in the background, and he's lip syncing, and it just was this viral thing. And so Dreams recharted again. It was like number 12 on Billboard for a little while or something like this. And it was the most streamed or downloaded song for a week or something like that. But it's amazing how powerful social media can be, especially, where there are a lot of people like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I think this is just an example of how people are trying to get creative with the social media and the technology and these platforms and things. What kinds of collaborations can I make to expand my reach?
The real takeaway inside as I'm reflecting on this cool conversation I'm having with you, Chris, is to, and this is way beyond Spotify music, is embracing the change, embracing change and facing change head on. There are doors if you look the right way. There are new open doors when there's change. And the more you focus on that as opposed to being angry about the change and just sitting in neutral, whining about the change, even if it's not fair, I think you're going to be worse off. So that's my takeaway. I think it's something I think about a lot because my whole YouTube career is based in that, because I had been laid off from a job, and instead of complaining about, I spent a couple days complaining. But once I got it out of my system, then I said, okay, what doors has this opened? And there's been multiple times in my life, these pinnacle moments that always seemed horrible at the time, or change, something ending and me having to start a new beginning somewhere else. It always seemed horrible in the moment, but it's always been those life-defining things for me. So I just have to throw that out there as just an overall, 10,000 feet above, lesson from some of these things.
Yeah, and the people who make it are the people who work hardest a lot of the time. The people who are able to embrace change, like you brought up, the people who are able to navigate the new music business landscape. Spotify is one component of that. The people who really know how to leverage technology are the ones who are going to make it. And that goes for digital audio workstations like Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools, GarageBand, whatever. The people who really know how to use these technologies have a better chance at success. And so it extends out to the actual music making technologies as well.
Well put. Once again, you guys, this is Chris Kapika, the Dean of California College of Music. And this is a really stimulating topic, mostly Spotify, but also just technology in general, where it came from, where it's going. And I would love to hear from you guys more about what we discussed. By all means, please let me know down in the comments below what you think about the topics. Thank you again for your time. And I think we'll be hanging out again. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please give us some feedback in the comments, and hope to see you again real soon. Take care. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Marty. Take care, guys.
Thank you.